Hey guys, how's it hanging everybody? This is StormPow and welcome to yet another episode of StormPod. And for those of you who maybe don't know what StormPod is, this is my podcast where I talk with content creators and other interesting people that I find on the internet, get to know a little bit more about them, not only about what they do with their content, but also more about them as an individual and as a person. And I really love getting to know some interesting facts about these people and sharing that with my audience and then also theirs. So this week, I wanted to have Rhymestyle on. So Rhymestyle is a content creator mostly in the DragonBall and anime space. He has been known for a while around the Xenoverse 1 days and even a little bit before then. And of course, we talk about that. Rhymestyle also has an entire channel that is dedicated to collectibles, Pokemon card unboxings, and things like that. So Rhymestyle has a wealth of knowledge on a lot of things that I really wasn't completely aware of. I felt like I was watching Tiger King again, just in the fact that I was being exposed to a whole nother universe that I didn't know was even around. And that universe is, of course, the universe of collectibles, where I learned terms like PSA 10 that I would have had no idea what that meant, and overall the value that comes with these collectibles. So this was a really, really interesting time. And of course, Rhymestyle is a great dude. Really enjoyed having him on and talking about some of the work that he does and how he stays so passionate in doing what he does. And overall, just a really great time. I've been familiar with Rhymestyle for a while, and so it was really interesting to finally sit down and actually have a one-on-one conversation with him. He and I have been on things like the Everyday Beam Struggle podcast together, but we've really not had a great time to just kind of sit down one-on-one and get to know each other and chat. So overall, fantastic time, and I absolutely love this dude after this. I mean seriously. So anyway, guys, enough jib-jabbering. You guys are here to listen to some awesome conversations, so I will let you get back to it. But I do hope that you enjoy this episode of StormPod as much as we had fun recording it. And one last thing, do want to let you know that you should be sure to check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/thestormpow, so that way you can check out these episodes live and get access to them about 48 hours sooner, but also so that way you can be a part of the pre and the post show where we interact with the audience live. So this episode was a really great example of that. We did a big Q&A where Rhymestyle was answering questions for my viewers and his viewers and things like that, and we were just kind of talking shop a little bit about content creation and about anime and things like that. So really great time where some viewers got to have a good one-on-one time with the both of us, really. So that's a good example of what we like to do, before and after the show. So be sure to check out the Twitch link and be a part of that in future episodes. But anyway, guys, without further ado, hope you enjoy this episode of StormPod with Rhymestyle.
I mean, I feel very strongly about Rage and Blast, and some people in the chat will probably remember this because I shit on Rage and Blast all the time. I think Rage and Blast is a terrible game. Yeah. It was fun for what it was, but the thing is again, I grew up on a Tenkaichi, so like when you go from Tenkaichi to Rage and Blast, you're literally going from, I don't know, gourmet burritos to like something that you get something that you get from the corner store at your microwave. That's not a good transition. But people did grow up on a Rage and Blast, so like whatever game you grew up with, you always have a special place in your heart for it. And that's why a lot of people fuck with Rage and Blast. But it's a bad game. It's a terrible game.
No, I'm glad that you said something so controversial yet so brave. But no, it is. Like bad is a hard word, but like I think it has to be said because it's very boring, it's very repetitive, like it's very dumbed down and simple, like overly simplified in my opinion.
Yeah, and that was their goal, and for what they went for, I think they nailed. But like, because the problem was, to kind of give you like the history behind it, Tenkaichi was too hard. Yeah. That's what it was. It was too hard. Like after the game came out, Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3, the overall consensus of that series was it was too hard. So they had to like go back to the drawing board and make something simpler and easier so people complain less. And like I played Tenkaichi and I'm like, where the fuck is the hard part? Who is complaining about this? Right. But yeah, that's the actual history of it. Is Rage and Blast or Tenkaichi was so hard that they wanted to make something to kind of like success that as a series, so they went steps backwards and made Rage and Blast.
Yeah. It's like, we're gonna sound like old people, I think, but it really is like back in our day. Like I feel like the games were like a lot harder. But I mean, like there were levels in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 that I remember getting like really pissed off at as a kid, and like, damn, this shit is really hard. But it's like, I don't know. Usually it was like after I like just sat there and fucked with it for a long time, I eventually got it. You know what I mean? Yep. And like that's okay. But like Raging Blast 2, like there was like no challenge whatsoever.
Yeah, like, and it was just flat out broken too, because like you could literally, because you know how they had the ability to like swat attacks, you can literally hold R1 to block, and then just mash left and right, like literally just mash left and right, and you're guaranteed to swat stuff away. Like that game was just busted. And then there's still people who live by it, like, oh, you're just not good at it. I can guarantee you put more hours into this game than the average person. Like, I'm a Dragon Ball channel. Like, I poured my soul into Dragon Ball games my entire life, and from playing all of them, like I said, it wasn't a bad game. I'm not gonna shit on it and say it was horrible. It was steps backwards, and that's not what I wanted out of a Tenkaichi style game. Yeah,
I agree. So with you being like a Dragon Ball channel, like I was doing a little bit of research on you and stuff before tonight. You know, I like to get familiar and like nice and debriefed and everything. So I saw you had been doing videos since about 2011. And I feel like I mentioned this on Twitter last night when I was mentioning that we were having this, but I feel like people have literally been asking for this to happen since about 2012 for me.
Yeah. So by the time I came to YouTube is like around the time when you left. So it was like I just missed the window, but it was weird because like so Dragon Ball as a community wasn't really established at the time yet. Like there was you, there was Unreal, Omega was there, and then there was DBZ Anto who would just post just gameplays, but like it wasn't quite built yet. And it's like right as it started forming, the person we needed most vanished, like the Avatar.
Right? No, like I remember towards the end, it was right as like my like kind of like passion for DBZ was going down. I was noticing comments, you know, of people being like, "Oh, hey, do you know Rhymestyle? Have you like you should do a video with Rhymestyle?" And like I was just kind of like, whatever. Like I don't really give a shit about DBZ. Like fucking. I'm out, but I just remember hearing that, and I remember hearing your name and like being familiar with you back then, and then I'm like, it feels so strange now, like literally like 8 years later, and we're finally like sitting down, you know.
But it is kind of crazy if you think about it, man. So, like looking back at it, our community has just grown so much because like one of the things that people always ask right now is like, oh, like what's it take to get into content creation? It's like, oh, you know, you just got to be consistent, you got to upload, have fun with it. But like the thing is you do need a little bit of luck. And the thing that was lacking back then is there just weren't that many. You could count on one hand how many creators there were. You know, there was like 2 people who would do the discussions and stuff. There would be like 2 people who would do just the gameplays. And then there'll be like 1 or 2 doing the news. And like what I was doing early on was I want to be like the first one that did a little bit of everything. That's why like something I try to do today on my channel is play variety of Dragon Ball games. And also I've been kind of branching out, but like my big goal has always been to not just be the Dokkan guy, not just be the Xenoverse guy, Fighters guy, yada yada. Because I feel like if you, I guess, get known for something within the community, you stand on more, if that makes sense. But again, like back then, there just weren't that many of us. And it's kind of crazy like looking back at it 8 years later, and there's like just thousands of creators at this point. It's just wild.
Yeah. And that's good because I mean, like, you know, it feels like right now, like Dokkan and Legends and like Fighters are going to be around forever, but I mean, they're not. Like, give it a few more years and there's going to be something else. You got to be diverse.
That's why you can't play just one, because like if Dokkan shuts down tomorrow, it's like oof, like, or if Legends shuts down or Fighters shuts down. I mean, the thing is we've seen games come and go, and I initially noticed this in Xenoverse because when Xenoverse 1 came out, that game created channels. Like it was like the first game that was just pumping out new channels left and right. But the second Xenoverse's DLC 3 came out and the game was done, all those channels vanished except for like 4. And then those 4 basically they threaded water until Xenoverse 2 came out, and then Xenoverse 2 popped. But then Xenoverse 2 not fell apart. You can't just do one game.
Yeah.
You just can't.
No, yeah. And especially like the cool thing about like Dragon Ball, and I talked to Patters about this recently with Pokemon, is like franchises like that are good to build channels off of, honestly, because they're so freaking huge and like they're always coming out with new games. It's not like, you know, you blew up off of like, say there's a creator like when The Last of Us 2 finally freaking comes out, like there's some creator that for some reason just blows up with that. Like that's going to be hard to maintain because that game doesn't have a ton of replayability, I'm assuming. You know, it's like, but Dragon Ball's lucky, you know?
Yeah, and that's why I chose to be a Dragon Ball creator, because at the time I know Bandai pumps out a game every year, and unlike Call of Duty, it was always a different game, which is both a gift and a curse. The gift is like it's a different game, it's a different experience, but the curse is it might be a bad game and it might not last. Ironically, Fighters was a terrible game for content creation when it first came out, because like it looked beautiful, but a lot of casuals who are basically the big part of the YouTube community just did not want to watch it. So it's like, ooh, we have to wait a whole nother year and basically thread water until something else comes out. Well, lucky enough, you know, we also had the mobile games, which update every week, which is great. But like, Fighters took a while. Fighters right now is doing really, really good on YouTube, but for that first year, it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, like
because you also can't do what you would do in like Xenoverse, because like in Fighters you have to learn every single character, every single team. Like you have to learn that one team and stick to that one team. Whereas in Xenoverse you can just go from character to character and kind of know the basics.
Right. That's why I'm not good at Fighters. Like I don't have the time. Well, I probably have the time, but I've not dedicated that time to it at least. But man, it is because like I just see all these different move sets. Whereas like you said in like Xenoverse or Raging Blast, like I could just pick up any character and like use the same combos. Like you just have to learn their supers. But I mean, honestly, it's all, all right, he shoots a blast out of his hand. It's just different color blast or something like that.
Yep. Which is, again, what arena fighters go for. They go for, like, that casual audience where you don't have to, like, know every ins and out of a fighting game to, like, to play it. And that's why those games succeed. That's why Jump Force, Shinobi Striker, all those games are succeeding.
Yeah. And so one thing that I like to ask people towards the beginning of these, I always think it's interesting. I'm like, give me your dating profile. Like, I want to hear some stuff that maybe, like, especially if your fans may not know it about you, like some interesting stuff outside of content creation. And I know you have a girlfriend, so it's like maybe you haven't had to make a dating profile in a while, and this might be hard, but do your best.
So, like, basically about me. Well, I'm really into trading cards. Like, a lot of my time goes into these right here. These are some classic Yu-Gi-Oh packs right here.
You had those motherfuckers ready.
Yeah, well, they just came in the mail today. But, like, I mean, as you can see from my background, like, the big thing with me is just I've always been into collecting. I mean, I grew up under Pokemon. I went into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't know. I was just always into collecting things. So, like, outside of content creation, this is basically what I just scoured the internet. I mean, hold on. I scoured the internet for all these things. And, like, I mean, even look at this. This is a sealed copy of Mario 64 that I just got the other day.
Oh, that's sexy.
So, yeah, like, when it comes down to just me outside of content creation, I just nerd out over shit like this.
And so, like, what was maybe the first time that you remember, like, just nerding out over something and, like, wanting to start that collection? Do you remember?
Yep. It's this guy right here. This is where it all started.
Charizard?
Yep. This is where it all began. Because, like, when I was a kid, this is, like, the thing that everybody... I never had this as a kid. You know, if you had this, you were the kid. But, like, I never even held one when I was a kid. And then it wasn't until 2016 they basically re-released the set under the name Pokemon Evolutions. And then they basically reused a lot of art. I remember I bought a box. I'm like, yeah, this might be kind of fun to kind of relive my childhood. And then here I am now, like, years later, and just with the most ridiculous collection that you can even probably imagine. I mean, to the rest of the squad that already know, they know how deep I am with this, but, like, I'm talking about, how do I even explain this without, like, sounding like I'm flexing?
Go ahead. Hey, don't worry about the flex.
Basically, that shelf alone over there has about $60,000 in Pokemon cards.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically where all my time goes into. Like, I don't know. I just like to collect shit and just, I don't know, just see what I can find, I guess.
So, where do you normally go to get your stuff that you've got? Like eBay or, I mean, something else?
You got to go in the underground for a lot of this stuff. I mean, I have a lot of friends like in the community right now who just also collect. They have their own channels and stuff like that. And for example, I got my homie Leonhardt in December calls me up and goes, "Bro, you're not gonna believe this. I just found a massive collection in a storage unit, and I bought it all." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what'd you get?" I'm thinking like he's gonna say he bought like a couple $100. No, he spent $55,000 on an old collection from like 2002, and it was just a bunch of like classic boxes. Crap. And then not just that, he also does it the next day as well. And I'm like, what? So he did it twice within a week, and he basically spent $110,000 on cards.
Holy shit!
So like, when you come across people like that, it's like, yeah, I have a box. It's like, oh, okay, let me buy that box off of you. But the thing that makes these boxes so special is they go up in price like crazy. It's the market's super volatile. Like, for example, one of these guys right here, I'm sure you know what this is.
Yeah, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Yeah,
this. When I got into Pokemon, I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! As well back in 2016. And I bought out like a bunch of these for like $50, $70 a pop. I'm glad I did, because after Charizard blew up recently, all the Blue Eyes is skyrocketed as well. So that same $70 perfect condition Blue Eyes now cost $2,500 for a played condition. Like, in a way, it's an investment, and I guess that's what's kind of cool about it is if you buy it now, months from now it's going to be crazy. Like, specifically, like if I point up there, I got that box in the top right, which is like the first set from Gen 2 that came out in 2000. I remember I bought it for $3,000 back in August. That box is like $12,000 now. Yeah. And this has been like 4 months. So the thing about collecting like cards especially is the prices just change overnight.
So like,
so if you're ever in a situation where it's like, all right, it's time to sell it, you'll get your money back and more. In a way, it's like nerd investing.
Nerd investing. I mean, you're right. I never really thought about it like that because like on the surface, me, like I've never really been like super into the collecting. So like people like me, I feel like a lot of times we're like, God damn, like how, we just look at it like, how could you drop $3,000 on some Pokemon cards? But then it's like, if you ever do like need that money or something like that, it's there. It's not like it's going to depreciate at all,
Like, to give an example of how serious this game gets. Oh, actually, this is perfect because 2 weeks from now, one of my good friends, he bought the very first box, the first edition Shadowless box. And these boxes usually sell for about anywhere between $60,000 to $80,000, depending on what's going on. And he's opening up the box next week on his channel, and what he does is he basically does like a pre-order thing where it's like you'll buy a pack, he opens it live, and then he sends you the cards. So he's selling each pack for $2,500, and it's already sold out. If you do the math, that's $90,000. He's gonna make $90,000 off a single video,
dude.
No, it's crazy. And the thing is when stuff like that happens, it creates a ripple effect. So now it's like, all right, he basically sold a box for $90,000. That means anybody who has that box right now, the price automatically ends up becoming $100,000 because there's one less in the world. And what that does is because that box is $100,000, now this card goes from being $1,000 to $2,000. Like it creates like this like domino effect on everything, and that's what like I guess is exciting about collecting cards.
No, that is literally never thought about it like
stock
that.
Market for the dweebs. Yeah, it's exactly stock market for the dweebs.
It's like you got like the stocks app on your phone. No, you need the fucking Pokemon card app.
Well, no, it's funny because like with everything that's going on, like a lot of people always been telling me like, oh, have you been investing yet? I mean, not really. I haven't really got into it, but like I bought cards. But now it's like everybody that's been investing in the past year is like, oh, big mistake. Good thing you didn't do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, all my stuff is still just jumping up.
I mean, yeah, because like the stock market goes up and down based off like all kinds of bullshit that I don't claim to be like smart enough to understand. But like that's a really good point though. Collectibles pretty much for the most part only get like more rare as time goes on, and like the amount of like mint condition ones. Yeah.
What essentially happens is like a lot of us that grew up with this stuff, there's some people who are not millionaires, and what do? They buy their cars, they buy their cars, they buy their houses, they buy whatever, and then what else do they buy? Stuff that they grew up with. Like nostalgia sells, and that's what causes the stuff to go up. Because like the thing is like even this Mario 64, this is like if you collect sealed games, this is like the holy grail of Nintendo 64 games. People have been selling these for like anywhere between like $1,000 to $2,000 for just a Nintendo 64 game.
Yeah,
I didn't pay that much. I paid like way less. I got like a hell of a deal, and I think I only got that good deal because of what's going on. It just popped up on eBay the other day. But like anything that you grew up with, I guarantee you somebody's gonna want later.
Yeah, like I remember my parents telling me when I was little, like, oh, you should keep, your Pokemon cards like in good condition and blah, blah, blah. And then I that is like number one thing I should have listened to my parents on. Because I don't even remember what happened with them.
Like looking back at it, I wish I could just tell 10-year-old me to just save a couple of those base set boxes. Not that I ever had those, but like if I can go back in time, like, hey, yo, go find these boxes and hang on to them. Trust me. It's like you'd be eating right now.
Yeah. Like, I remember there was this kid, like, because I didn't know shit about, like, collectibles or anything like that, but there was this kid who had, like, this, like, golden Charizard card, and he rode my bus, and it was, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It wasn't, like, a conventional, like, card, like, made out of paper. It was literally, like, like, gold textured anyway, and, like, metallic feeling.
Are you talking about the Burger King one?
God damn it, yes, because he, like, convinced me that it was, like, legit, and like I think I gave that kid like $20 for that because I was starting to think like, oh, this is gonna be something. Yeah, this is right. I could get way more than $20 out of this. Like I'm ripping this bastard off. And yes, exactly. It was like I started looking it up, you know, and I was like, wait a minute. This was a fucking like Happy Meal toy.
Yeah.
I wanted to beat that kid's ass.
Ironically, there's so many of those that exist right now that they just don't sell. So that was one of the more badder investments of collectibles. Now, but I remember when I was a kid, some guy walks up, like a kid from my school, was like, "Hey, I have 2 Charizards, but one's really, really bent. Like, would you trade me something for it?" And I'm like, I mean, I got nothing to trade. He goes, "What about your Game Boy?" And I'm like, "Yep, I'll do it."
Oh shit.
Like, I traded I had the old gray, like the fat Game Boy. I remember I gave that to him for a bent Charizard. Like back in the day, like I said, these were like the coolest shits to own as a kid. And I mean, I think that's what it is. Like at the end of the day, it's just that nostalgia. Like you're capturing that moment of your life where it was just a lot more simpler. And I don't know, it's just really, really cool to have.
Yeah. So roughly, like I feel like this is gonna be very hard, but roughly, how many collectibles do you think you have? Like ballpark. If you have,
are we talking about like a money value or
more so just the amount of items, like
a shit ton. I mean, like I'll show you around if it doesn't like if it lets you. So I mean, I got some figures because you gotta have your figures, and then of course some more on my booster boxes up there. Then more figures and games. I recently got into games actually, so it's not that many. And then over there, I got my like Yu-Gi-Oh section as well as some more sealed games. It's not that much compared to like the average whale. Like I'm more of a as much as ironic it is, I'm a whale when it comes down to like the gacha games like Dokkan Legends, but like I'm like a guppy when it comes down to people because like there's literally I mean again my homie Leonhardt, I remember that week I bought a Feraligatr. Like I got a Feraligatr and I was excited about it. I'm like, yeah, this is like a couple $100 card. I'm excited. I got it to my collection. He goes, yeah, bro, I paid 100,000 in packs. I'm like, oh. So I'm still like a guppy when it comes down to it, but there is crazy whales in this world, you know. And like I said, my homie that's opening that box next week literally spends like $20,000 to $50,000 in pack on like boxes a week. And again, it makes up for him because what he does is he buys them and then he ends up selling them because what he figured out in his channel when he launched his channel was because he has an eBay store, and instead of just like selling the cards and packs to the people, he just offers like, oh, by the way, I'm going to open this box. If you sign up, you know, you can buy a pack or a couple packs, and then I'll open it and I send it to you. It's like a win-win situation. It's basically like free marketing for him.
So like cards work kind of like gacha games then. It's like you don't know if you're going to get that really like rare or valuable card. Okay.
Like I watched this guy bought like literally 10 packs the other day. And I think the packs were like $250 a piece. So he spent like $2,500, and literally every pack was a non-holo. So he spent $2,500 on that live stream. $2,500 pulled nothing.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
I hope he got some bits or something that night.
That was rough. I'm like, please just pull a holo, man.
Like
that's why a lot of people say it's not worth it to open. That's why I'm always like, yeah, you probably shouldn't open that one. But again, I mean, some people just want to get that feel of just opening up a pack, and whether you get something good or not, like you get that experience at least.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if you do stuff through his channel, it's like you're not even opening it. You just kind of like pay for it. You watch him open it, and then you get the cards later. So you might not even you're not really even getting like the opening experience at least.
Yeah. Like that is really legit. Like I do remember being a kid and like my mom buying me like Pokemon cards when we went to Target, and like I wasn't like even into collecting, but like sometimes I'd like play with the kids at school, but like just that sound of like opening up the pack is like satisfying as shit.
Yep.
Like, so I just can't imagine though, like it's different than gacha games in the sense of like normally those are like spend $5, get some like in-game currency and all that stuff. But this is like literally like $250, like you said, for like a pack of cards that might suck ass.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely buying. I'm on a wait list to buy 2 of those packs from that box next week. And they're $2,500 a piece. But what I'm going to do is, so this is the gamble here. And this is basically like how I'm justifying this. So I'm going to spend $5,000 on 2 packs. If the packs are heavy, because you can't weigh it. You know, I got my little scale. We're doing drug talk now. You weigh the pack. If it's heavy, you can open it. Or you could quadruple the flip. Because if you actually have a heavyweight first edition pack, it's about $8,000. So I could spend $2,500 and then automatically flip that for $8,000. Or I could play the slot machine and open it. If it comes out to have one of these in it, and if I get it graded, it comes back as a perfect condition 10, it's now a $50,000 card. cash. So it's like,
Jesus.
or worst case scenario, both of the packs weigh light, which means they don't have a hollow in it. And at that point, the value is probably somewhere around $1,500. So at that point, what you could do is you could either grade the packs yourself and then kind of like sell the graded pack, or you can sit on the pack for another like couple months and then resell it for more. So that's kind of like how it works.
Good God, man. Like, this is a world. I feel like I'm watching Tiger King right now in the sense of like, this is a whole world that I'm being exposed to that I had no idea was like this.
This world exists. Yeah.
God.
Every time I talk about this, people are like, that can't be worth that much. There's no one to buy. No, there is. Like, this stuff like sells all the time, and it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I know this is a big enough part of your life because like you have like a whole channel about like your collectibles and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't launch that channel because I wanted a second channel. Because what happened is I got so heavy into cards that I was uploading this on my main channel. But because I was doing so much, I was like, I don't want to spam up that channel. So I literally created that second channel for basically opening stuff. But like, I'm not always posting on that channel unless there's like something going on. Like, I know when Pokemon had the Hidden Fate set that came out back Q3 of last year, like that was a hype set. And that one had a shiny Charizard that everybody wanted. And again, this shows you how crazy the market can get. When that set came out, that Charizard, the very first Perfect 10 graded, sold for 10 grand, which is fucking stupid. Don't ever do that. If a new set comes out, never pay premium money for a card just because, I don't know, you think this is going to be the only one. There's not, because as of today, there's literally hundreds of 10s, because like that set in particular was so, and actually all the sets today nowadays are so well printed that if you get it graded, most likely it's going to be a 10. Now that set, if you have that same Charizard, it's worth roughly $1,000, which is still a lot for a card. But again, imagine being that one person's like, yeah, I want to pay $10,000 for this, and I want to be the one that owns this. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. What's maybe like some interesting or like personal favorites that you got out of your collection?
I can show you right now. It's definitely the Blue Eyes and the Charizards. Like, I literally have a Charizard box right here.
Oh, nice.
But it's definitely got to be. I mean, I got both the Holy Grails from Pokemon and from Yu-Gi-Oh. Of course, this is the Charizard I was talking about that everyone went crazy for back in.
That thing is badass.
Yeah. But for me, there it is. Look at that. The first edition Shadowless. This is like the card to own. It's only a 9. If you have a 10 of this, it's worth roughly around 55 grand.
So what do you mean by like 9 or 10 on that? I saw it up there, but I don't know what that means.
So basically a 10 means it's a perfect condition. This one is just, and the way they rate it is if there's any like whitening on the back, how the card is centered. Usually centering is what kills the cards, or sometimes when they print it, they might have print lines on them. But when it's an absolute flawless card, it's a 10, and that's what people want. Now, 9 is still good. 9 still means, hey, this is like pretty much almost perfect, but there's that one flaw on the card. But again, the difference between a PSA 9 and a 10 is like, a PSA 9 is like a $8,000 card, whereas a 10 is literally 55 grand. So it's like, it's a big jump.
Yeah.
And sometimes 9s are just completely worthless because like there's so many of them. Like, for example, there's a Lugia that everybody wants. There's only 40 10s in the world. And as a 10, it's like a $10,000 card. As a 9, it's probably like $400.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like, because the thing is that people want is that exclusivity, because if it's a 10, only so many exist. You can even look up to see how many exist yourself. Oh, here's the other one. This is the Charizard equivalent of Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the first Blue Eyes that came out of the first box. And this is what I was telling you about. I bought a bunch of these, when they were worth $70 a pop. Now, if you just have like a beat up version of this card, it sells for like $2,500 just because people want it.
Damn.
And then if you have a PSA 10 of this, it's like a $15,000 card, somewhere in the neighborhood. But like the thing about Blue Eyes is Blue Eyes has jumped so much solely because of Charizard. Charizard is so powerful that it caused the TCG mascot of the next game to skyrocket because everybody wanted to find like the next Charizard to blow up.
Jesus Christ, that is really crazy. But like you said, the whole exclusivity of it, like, I don't, like I said, I'm not really that into this stuff, but like, damn, like,
more.
Oh my God. Just being like, I own this card that like 40 people, like 39 people in the world, other people have.
Yeah,
that's
wild. Exactly what it comes down to end of the day. It's a couple more.
Oh my God.
What I used to gamble with the fact that, like, for example, like I bought this, this was like this came from the Game Boy Color game. So Dark Duel Stories, it was like the first Yu-Gi-Oh game on a Game Boy Color. The first print came with an Exodia head, a Dark Magician, and a Blue Eyes. And these are non-existent as PSA 10s. So if you have like a raw version of this card, it's like maybe $1,800. If you have a 10 of it, now you're talking about $4 or $5 grand. I remember what I used to do is I used to just gamble the fact that, all right, if I buy this, if it's a 9, I'll break even. So what I would do is I would buy a card. Let's say I spent $1,800 on a card. If it comes back as a PSA 9, you can sell for like $2,500, so you can get your money back. But that one-off chance it comes back as a 10, you like quadruple your profit. And actually, the one time I bought this Blue Eyes, I actually got lucky enough for it to come back as a 10. So, where is it? Wherever I just put it. Oh, right here. Wait, that's not it. Where the hell did I put it? It was just here. Anyways, if I get it as a 10, I'll just kind of throw it into my collection and just hang on to it.
Damn. Somebody in the chat asked if you steal that box, you'd get like $50K. I have a feeling more than that, but I don't know if I'm right.
It's a little bit more than that.
Jesus.
I have to get insurance on my entire room a while back.
Yeah, I would. Like, because right now, like something like just like fire insurance and shit like that, I would be like, they could charge whatever they want for that, probably.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah.
If you want to see some history, though, well, I gotta break this bad boy out too. Now here's that's the very first box.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's not the first edition version, but it is a shadowless version, so it's like the next best thing. I bought this for $14 back in I want to say like September. And at that time, $14 was a ridiculous price. But the thing is right now it's worth around 30, and this is 4 months ago.
Holy shit!
So like, yeah. And the other thing is a lot of these are fake that exist in the market because people basically see, all right, this is a quick way to scam somebody, but it's like completely verified, and it's like, if I ever need money, I could just sell one of these and I'm chilling for a bit.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of curious right now, like, so times like now, like there's like some folks that are like, probably looking for some extra income or something. Like, does that affect like the whole stock market we got going on here? Like, as far as like, are more people out there selling stuff? You could probably get a better deal on stuff, or
it hasn't changed at all. That's the wild part.
Really?
Like right now, it's funny because this is like a big debate happening in Pokemon right now. This is Typhlosion from the first set, and for some reason, this card is like the most desired Pokemon card out right now. Reason why is because when this first came out, it was highly playable. So anybody that still has this, it's probably very beat up. On top of that, Neo Genesis had a really, really terrible print too. So like, if you open the pack, usually it's a PSA 8 already. Like, that's how bad it was. There's also issues with the card itself, like a little dot that pops up. And as far as a 10, only 16 PSA 10s of this card exist. So randomly, like I want to say 2 months ago, one sold for like $12,000 for no reason at all. And because that happened, again, the ripple effect, it causes everybody to all of a sudden panic, be like, you know what, that's the next card I need to get. And that causes it up to go more and more. So like PSA 9s now are like super desired. PSA 8s are super desired. Like, people are just scrambling to get these because, again, one, it was very, very playable, so like not that many people have it. And two, even if you already just pack fresh pull it on a set that's like almost impossible to find, it's most likely going to be beat up. So like, with which you would expect the prices to be going down, but they're only going up.
That's, yeah, I never even thought about that, but yeah, you're exactly right. And they're just like, oh, I got to get this, and then it kind of makes it, yeah, like you said, even more valuable just by them trying to get it and everything like that. That's so, goddamn, this is wild to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I discovered this world roughly 2 years ago, and I'm still like, it still just boggles my mind sometimes.
Oh, really? Only like 2 years ago until you got like this heavy into it?
Yeah, so when I first got into it, I was kind of like I said, I was just a little baby with it. I wanted to collect some of my favorite cards that I grew up with, and including some of the new ones that I found. But I remember initially, I just wanted to collect every single Mewtwo, because that's like my favorite Pokemon next to Charizard. And I told myself, if I ever get into Charizard collection, maybe I'll get a couple. Yeah. As of today, I own every single one. So that obviously didn't really work out in my initial plans. But I really got heavy into it in the past like 2 years.
Jeez. So, okay. As far as like one single item, what would you say, and of course this could be like card, figure, whatever, what would you say is maybe the single most valuable item that you've got right now? And I know that it fluctuates probably, but
I would say it's my Neo Genesis Lugia. It's by far my most favorite one. And the reason why is because, one, I pulled it myself. See if I can find it. I pulled it myself. Let me see if I can get it over here. I pulled it myself back in, I want to say, like 4 months ago. So I bought a bunch of packs from a guy who basically broke that same box that I ended up buying later. And I wanted to get the Lugia. I was hoping to get for Alligator, but I was really like aiming for that Lugia. But the thing that makes that Lugia so special is, again, most that exist today are really, really beat up. So you're not going to get a good grade on it. And at the time, because of the hollow pattern, it's really hard to get a 10 in the first place. And in the last year and a half, only 110 was added, and that was mine. So not only did I pull the card, it's actually on my second channel, but it also graded as a perfect 10.
And so you said you pulled that one yourself. You didn't like buy that off of somebody. Yeah. Okay.
I've tried to pull it. Like I've tried to buy them and grade them myself, but again, most of that exist because of how the hollow pattern is. And if I can find it, I can show you. Because of how the hollow pattern is, it's just a bunch of hollow on it. So like literally, if you just breathe on it, it just scratches. And the reason, like, what makes these little encapsulations so cool is like once it's encapsulated, it's like it's safe.
Yeah.
There it is. So because of like how the pattern on this is, it's just like a bunch of just empty space.
That is cool.
But yeah, like again, this is also the most terrible card in existence as far as playing it. I don't know if you played a game before.
It's been a long time.
It makes you, so you know how you can attach one energy per turn? This card requires 3 energies to do it, and after you do the attack, you have to discard every energy. So it's like the worst card as far as playing in existence, but it's an iconic Pokemon. But yeah. It's by far my favorite one in the collection.
That's pretty cool. I like that it's one that you pulled yourself to, and it's like that I think, at least if it were me, that definitely would like be a lot cooler because you've got like that memory. I mean, obviously it's cool ordering it and like it coming in and getting it and everything like that, but like you got like that attachment to it. It's like, this is my baby.
Yeah, and also like understanding the reason why people want low population cards, like I get it now. Because like with Charizard, every copy of Charizard is like hundreds of copies is like PSA 10s, PSA 9s. I think for PSA 9 first edition, there's like 6,000 or something like that, like a ridiculous number, but it's still super expensive because everybody wants it. But like having, knowing you have that one card that's like so low pop that like it's incredibly hard to get, like it just, I don't know, it's just cool if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And even just Typhlosion, like that Typhlosion is a PSA 10, only 16 exist. There's 16 people right now on our planet that own that card, and it's like $14,000.
See,
like I get it.
Yeah. That's where it gets wild to me, is like when you start thinking about it like that, like literally, yeah, like so few people have that card and in like condition that's worth a damn, you know?
Yep. Like I think I wake up to either an email or like a direct message maybe once every 3 days of someone sending me an offer for it. And I'm like, I can't sell you this, man.
Yeah.
Because I know if I sell it, I'm not getting another copy of it.
It's like, yeah, it's not worth like enough right now, you know? Like, I mean, seriously, just keep it, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you just needed some cash, you got some other shit you could sell. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I always told myself if I ever get rid of my collection, the Lugia would be like one of like 4 cards that I would probably keep.
Yeah, man, this is really exposing me to a whole new world, because I'm like, I never really would have thought about it like an investment, but like it totally is, because like I was saying earlier, I'm just thinking about all the like stock market shit that's been fluctuating up and down right now, but like cards literally like, I mean, they're never gonna like get less rare, because I mean they can obviously reprint certain cards, but then there's always like that different edition, you know, like one of the OG ones or like the new reprints and things like that, you know, like man.
It's funny, like I had a friend who when he first got into YouTube, the first thing he bought was the first edition Shadow's box, and I think he paid like $8,000 for it. This was back in like 2013, 2014. And a year and a half ago, he decided to just crack the box open and sell the packs. So he sold the packs for $1,000 a piece. So he got it for $8,000, and he made probably like $30,000 off that box. I think he kept a couple of packs too. But literally like a week later, because he did that, the packs doubled in price. And that's the same box that I told you my friend is opening next week for $90,000. So that's the other thing that to kind of think about. It's like if you sell that box or that card, like what's going to happen next week?
Yeah. You have no fucking idea.
Mm-hmm. Should we start investing in cards? That's a good question. Yes and no. The big mistake a lot of people make is they try to buy new sets, and you probably shouldn't do that. The most infamous example was back in 2016, I want to say. There was a set called Roaring Skies, which was like super out of print, and it was very, very playable. And they re-released it, like they reprinted it. And what happened was everybody was like, all right, this set is about to bang. I'm about to buy like 1,000 of these boxes, and when it's time, I'm going to sell them all. That set can't sell right now. No one's buying that shit. But the thing is like right now, when a set comes out, if it has something playable, it's going to be of value because every player will want to add that to their decks. But the thing is like, is there a collector factor in the future? It depends what's inside it. And that set specifically, like, wasn't that cool of a set because, like, what's iconic is what lasts in the long run. So all the Charizards that come out, maybe the Mewtwo's, the Pikachus, that's what people go for over the long run. So the thing about collecting, like, stuff now is you might have missed the window because a lot of, like, shit is expensive. Like, I even wanted to buy some Neo packs last week, and I hit up my homie who's a trusted source, and he's like, yeah, $600 a pack. I'm like, oh, last time I bought these, they were 90 a piece. What happened? So, I mean, it all depends. If you got the revenue for it, like, you are going to get your money back. But, like, I wouldn't recommend buying newer stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's maybe an idea for some stimulus check. If you don't really need the stimulus check, you know, make an investment.
The one card I really want is a PSA 10 Dark Magician Girl First Edition. It's so expensive. I have 2 of those, but they're PSA 8s for both, and I'm upset because they're perfect condition. Like the other thing is like, you know, you'll buy a card near mint. And that Dark Magician Girl he talked about is like a $600 card. Mm-hmm. But like, there's a good chance after you grade it, it's gonna come back worth less.
Really?
Just because like, well, like I don't know how PSA or Beckett like really. How they like really determine what the card is actually worth? Because again, both of those cards I had, to me they were in perfect condition. I'm like, how the hell are these 8s?
Yeah.
But the thing is like, if you find that one card that you want as a collector, and it's an iconic monster or character, it's definitely safe to buy. You buy it, wait 6 months, see what happens. Worst case scenario, the price will stay same, so you can always just resell it later.
That's true. It really never gets like less valuable, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna pivot just a little bit.
Okay.
So about your YouTube and everything, I was checking on it, and you were a lot closer than I thought. So you're looking at 1 million subs here pretty soon, which is
soon
crazy.
With air quotes, yeah.
At the rate you've been going, how much longer do you think you've got?
Well, the thing is, it's been a lot slower in the past 2 years because, again, like I said, when Fires first came out, it wasn't that great for growth on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And what was the big accelerating factor at the time was Xenoverse stuff. I think Xenoverse is what caused my channel to skyrocket. When it first came out, Xenoverse took me from like 40,000 subs to like 120 in like a month. Mm-hmm. And then after that, anytime anything big happened, it would just like be big bursts. But like the last year, really, it's been kind of like a steady, slow and steady wins the race type of thing.
Yeah.
So like I'm growing every single day. I never had like a negative day. But it's still kind of like going on like kind of like a slower pace than like everybody else. Because I know, for example, if let's say if Xenoverse 3 was to drop tomorrow as a surprise game, I probably would hit it in like 2 weeks. But like right now, we're probably looking like maybe by the fall, maybe ish.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it just comes down to the algorithm, and like if the algorithm wants to promote my channel or just put me up there, then it'll help. But again, it's kind of unpredictable. I just kind of stopped paying attention to all that stuff because like a good chunk of my YouTube career has been obsessing over numbers. That's why I used to do 2 videos a day. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago I just had to cut back on that and be more about just, you know, like I don't want to say creating for fun because I've always created for fun, but I step back and focus more on just enjoying and having fun as opposed to looking at it as a job for like, because like between 2014 and like 2017, I want to say, I looked YouTube severely at a job. I was like a robot. It was just nonstop. And it was just very, very unhealthy. I mean, you've done YouTube before, so you know like how overwhelming it can get.
Yeah.
But like in the past 3 years, I just kind of just took it at my own pace. And I'm like, whatever happens, happens. If I upload a video and it doesn't bang, whatever, the next one might. If I have a terrible week this week, next week's gonna be better. Like I just kind of have that outlook now, and it's been a lot more fun, a lot less stressful.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why I had to leave because like it had gotten to the point to where it was a job, and like especially at that size, like I was making damn good money for like a little dumb kid playing video games and stuff, but not enough to like really live off of or anything like that. So I was like, well, shit, if I'm gonna be like doing a job that I don't like, I may as well get a like job, and maybe get some insurance and stuff. So I was like, but yeah, I think if you can avoid making it feel like a job, that is like priority number one,
Yeah, and like that's the thing that happens with a lot of people is they just super burn out. And like, I feel like if I get to the point where I just burn out with YouTube, I would just quit. Because like, if you burn out, you're not coming back from that.
Exactly.
It's really, really hard to recover from that.
And that's why like when I made, my new channel and everything like that, I just had to try so hard to be like, I'm not, like, because a lot of people were like, why didn't you like start on your old channel? Which for one, I don't have access to it. But for two, I had decided that, even if I did get access to it and could sign in, I was like, I'm not good. Obviously starting with that, like, subscriber count would have been huge as far as like a jump start. But at the same time, like the trying to think of how to word it, but just like the stuff that's associated with that channel is not what I'm doing now. So it's just like, it's not worth it. That's going to just put me back into that cycle. You know what I mean?
Ironically, if you would have went back to that channel, it would have done worse than you are doing right now.
Exactly.
And the reason why is because the way YouTube designs their algorithm, which is so fucking stupid. If you have so basically, if I release a video, if a certain percentage of people don't click that video will not promote. So if you have a channel that's like, 8 years old, and if you were to start uploading on it again, you might get, a handful of people like, oh, fuck, like StormPow's back? They'll click on that video. Well, what's going to happen is a lot of those subscribers may not be active anymore, or they might not actually click on the video, and YouTube automatically will see that video and be like, all right, this is not good enough to recommend.
Exactly.
So at that stage, it is better to create a new channel.
Because
and like,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like with me, like I'm closing on 1 million, but those 1 million aren't all active, because over the course of the past 6 years of YouTube, I've done so much content. I had people that came for just Minecraft, and then some left. I had people who came for Xenoverse, and then some left. I had people who came from Dokkan, and some left. Like I probably have a audience closer to like 200, 300,000 actives based on the analytics that I have. But like the other 700, 600,000, whatever, they're probably just not even there anymore.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is because of a setup like that, when I actually upload, I'm actually going up against the current. Like I'm swimming against the current because of how YouTube system is set up. That's why like a lot of YouTube system is stupid. But again, it's like I could just obsess about that and worry about that, or I could just have fun and upload. That's why I'm like, you know what? When we get to 1 million, it'll happen if we get to it. But in the meantime, I'm not gonna like try to like keep up with figuring out how to please the algorithm, because if I do that, I'm just gonna burn out.
Yeah. Fuck all that, man. And yeah, talking about kind of where some of your viewers have come from. I was looking at your stuff, and like, so you started in like 2011, it looked like. And you were doing like Skyrim videos, like a lot of Skyrim videos. I was like, I didn't expect that. But
yeah, it's always funny because me and Toasty always laugh at this. Or actually, I make fun of Toasty because like, we will go back and just watch our original videos. But like, my story is I interned out here in San Diego in 2011 before I graduated college. And while I was out here, I went to Comic-Con, and I actually met like some of the people who were doing YouTube at the time. And I had no idea this world existed. I'm like, yo, there's people that just like make videos on people or gaming videos people just watch. I'm about to go back to college and start that shit. So I remember I hit up my homie Jadentastic, and the second I got back to college, I'm like, yo, let's just make Call of Duty videos. Let's make Skyrim videos. It's just fun.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would just basically look for like Easter eggs, just fun gimmicky stuff, and then we would pass it around to like the blogs. Like I remember Kotaku used to post my videos every now and then for like Borderlands, and like when you have like 100 subs and you see a video get to 100,000 views, it's like, oh shit, like yo, there's people out there that, like watching this shit. But like, initially, that was just kind of like getting my feet wet. But like when I moved back out to San Diego for like my job at the time, that's when I started thinking, all right, let's just kind of like dabble in YouTube and see what works. And I've always been a Dragon Ball kid since like I was like 11. But like obviously, a lot of people can relate to this. Not everybody in your school will be into Dragon Ball as much as you are.
Oh yeah.
Like I think in my circle, we maybe had like 4 people in my school that were like into it the same way that I was into it. So I remember it wasn't until Battle Z was coming out. No, it was the Rage. Ironically, it was the Rage and Blast. I used to make Rage and Blast videos, and I saw like people were really out there who were like really fucking with the game. Like, yo, this is dope. And every single time I would do a Dragon Ball video, that's when I noticed that there was a lot more people active with it. And then Battle Z was coming out. Battle of Gods was like Dragon Ball Z was coming back. Battle of Gods was coming out. And then, of course, they started announcing all like the good games. And that's basically how I shifted over from doing just random videos to the Dragon Ball content. Because, again, like with YouTube, you gotta stand out. Like if you just go into YouTube and be like a Fortnite content creator, or like you try to like follow like the big game that comes out like it's not going to work. But if you like find out one niche that is looking for content creators, that's when like you have like I guess the best luck of popping. Like right now, I think Grand Cross, which is like the big gacha game that a lot of people are playing right now, their community is just blowing up right now because like it's like the new thing. So if I ever give people advice to doing content creation, like if there's like a game that comes out or like a community that exists that is seeking content creators, like that's the perfect time to hop into it.
Yeah, because like. Yeah, a lot of times your first instinct is like, oh, I really like watching this guy's videos. He does really well. I need to be like him, you know? And I even catch myself doing it a lot of times, you know? And it's hard to avoid, but yeah, that definitely is true. You've got to like, I mean, because, you know, you're not going to subscribe to the same like two people or like two people doing exact same content. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But, So looking back at some of that stuff that you did there, yeah, I always like to kind of get a timeline, and like you made it pretty easy because you had like certain milestone videos. So like start in 2011, you had 5K subs around 2014, and then and you touched on this a little bit ago, and it fucking blew my mind when I realized it. So again, I'm gonna restate that. All right, that was 5K subs in like early 2014, like it was like January. All right.
Yeah, that's when Battle Z came out.
100,000 by like April 2015, like barely over a year, and you got 95,000 subs. So that's Xenoverse then, right?
Yeah, that's when Xenoverse came out, and then covering the news. And then Xenoverse 2, I think, by the time Xenoverse 2 came out, I think I grew by another like 150 to 200,000. Like, again, because at the time people were just seeking content creators, and I just happened to be in the drama community at the time when it was happening. Like, again, there is some luck involved with this. Yeah. You know, like, if Xenoverse didn't come out at the time, or if Xenoverse as a series didn't exist, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. And yeah, it's crazy. Like, again, I mean, the good example is Afro. You had Afro on here. Afro, I remember he had 200 subs when I first met him, and he was doing Naruto Revolution videos, and they were so heavily edited. And he used to like edit his videos on like the shittiest laptop. Like, I'm like, I don't even know how your video exported that or your laptop exported that. But they used to be so heavily edited and just A1. And I remember, you know, we used to tell him like, yo, dog, the second we get another Storm game, like you're gonna pop like tomorrow. Like no one can compete. The level of quality of these videos like pump out and the entertainment factor, you're just gonna pop. And literally when Storm came out, the next Storm game came out, he went from, I think he had the joke is. Like, I remember I asked him, what's your big goal with YouTube? And he was like, I just want to buy a pizza. Like, I want to be able to get to the point where I get enough revenue from a month to buy a pizza. And that was in March. In April, he went from having, like, I want to say a couple thousand subs to have, like, 140,000 subs in, like, a month. In, like, a month.
Jesus, man. That, I know, like, it blows my mind when I see that stuff. But honestly, a lot of creators, like, your size and Afro size, there is like some sort of moment like that. It's always really interesting finding just that one moment where it's just like damn near overnight. It's like,
yep,
you know, some surge.
I mean, a good one is Ninja, you know, before Fortnite came out, Ninja was like hovering around, I think he had like 5,000 followers or something like that on Twitch. You know, when he would stream, you would get a couple hundred viewers. And he was like a Halo guy that was basically done. Like Halo was over. Yeah. And Fortnite comes out, he picks up Fortnite. 1 year later, 20 million subs. Like,
yeah, fucking sponsored by Adidas.
Yeah. The thing about content creation is that's why I always say be consistent and like, you know, focus on having fun. Because the problem is a lot of people get into content creation for the wrong ideas. It's like, oh yeah, I'm about to make a YouTube channel blow up and be a billionaire, be famous, all that stuff. That's not the right way to do it. If you're going into content creation with just the idea of like, you know what, let me just create something and put it out there. If 5 people watch it and they enjoy it, cool. If no one watches it and no one enjoys it, that's fine, because I still like being able to create something. Like, to me, when I started doing YouTube, I just wanted to create shit. And even though it was simple back in the day, it just felt fun, like putting that video online, you know. And then over time, you watch it go from 5 years to 10 to 100. And then bam, like overnight, that moment happens that everything changes. And shit, I mean, for all I know, we can get something else like next week. Like I know the Guilty Gear beta is happening this weekend. You know, there's probably one person thinking about doing content creation that's going to probably make a Guilty Gear video. And next year when Guilty Gear comes out, they're going to be like probably a million view channel or a million sub channel from it. Like,
yeah.
Those moments can happen overnight. That's why I always say, yo, if you want to do content creation, just start. Just start, have fun with it, and see where it goes. Like, don't try to overthink it. Don't try to, like, focus on numbers. Don't try to copy other people. Just be yourself and see where it goes. And most of the time, it's going to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And, like, wait, go ahead.
I was going to say, a lot of times people also, like, in the content creation world will advise against being a content creator, but I'm going to say, fuck that. Like, just have fun with it, man. Because, like, end of the day, the worst case scenario, if you become a content creator and it doesn't work out, did you have fun? Yeah. But then that's all that matters.
Yeah. Like, you definitely can't go into it just, like, with your only goal being, like, being a cajillionaire and being famous. Obviously, that stuff's cool. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff does not suck by any means. But, like, there is such a small chance of you, like, getting to that point. And you know, even if you do, it may take a long ass time. There might be like a few years where you're not getting what you want, if that's, you know, literally your only goal. So like, yeah, it's gonna suck at that point if that's all you want.
I'm so happy you pointed that out, because a lot of times people will look up to people with like build channels and think, man, you just had it handed to you. It's like, people don't know that there was years of nothing happening. I mean, again, I started my channel in 2011. And between 2011 and 2014, nothing happened. Yeah. Like, it was just, you know, pop out a video, get a couple hundred views, you know, great. Like, people forget that we all went through that. You know, like, I had a guy today tweeting me, like, you know, he's just trying to get some advice and grow on his channel. And I'm like, bro, like, the way your channel's doing right now, you're doing way better than I did in the beginning. Just keep that up. Keep doing that. You know, I told him to get a better mic and focus on doing more commentary on his videos. But, like, the thing is a lot of people, they don't look at big channels and think, man, I wonder what they went through to make that channel. Because, like, at the time, what a lot of people also don't know is I started working at a startup. And I don't know how much you know about startups, but startups are a lot of hours. It's not like your typical job where it's like a 9 to 5. Like, I didn't get to go home when it hit 5 o'clock. When I moved out here in San Diego on, like, the worst salary in existence in fucking California, I basically lived off of ramen. And so my schedule at that job was pretty much every single day from 7 a.m. to 7 o'clock. And I would do 2 videos a day still. So what I would do is I would go to work. I would go home now it would take me like 45 minutes to get home because of traffic. So let's say 8 o'clock. I would get home around 8. I would skip dinner to work on 2 videos. Oh, actually, I would work on the video for the next day. So I have something come out. On weekends, Saturday and Sunday, and I guess Friday night, I would basically go into overdrive, just working on content as like secondary videos for the day. Because again, I was doing two videos a day. So what I would do on the weekends is I would record like maybe 5-6 J-Stars videos or Battle Z videos and schedule them out. And then when I would get home from work, I would work on that primary video of the day, which would be like talking about discussions and stuff like that. So I would basically be working every single day from 7 to like 1 a.m.
God damn.
And you don't see that.
Yeah.
You don't see that. So you see my channel and I was like, oh, you just had it handed to you. You lucky. I'm like, no, every channel has a story. Like like, for example, the homie C Reacts, which I don't know, I'm sure you've talked to him before. Yeah, you have talked to him before. Which you should bring one here as well. He's probably got a lot of good insight too. He literally would have, because he used to work at 2K, and when in the gaming industry, when they release a new game, they would go into what's called crunch time. So for about 3-week periods before the game comes out, it's like 16-hour shifts. 16-hour shifts. Imagine that. Jesus. And he would do QA, so it would just be nonstop work. What he would literally do when he was building his channel is he would go home for his lunch break to quickly like finish editing a video and upload it. Like, there's no excuses. Yeah. And then I'll see people get on Twitter like, not going to upload today, internet is down. It's like, no, get your ass and go to fucking Starbucks. Like, I'll never forget, my internet was down once, and I remember what I would do is I hopped in a car and just drove to the side of a fucking street until I got a signal so I could upload. Like, there's no excuses. Yeah. If you make excuses, it's like all you're going to do is just hold yourself back. Like, if you really want to make something happen, you'll get out there and figure out how to make it happen. Like, you'll fight for it. If you want something, you'll fight for it.
And I used to hear this saying, and I used to hate it, but like now I totally agree with it. They say, do not get into creation unless you literally can't imagine yourself doing anything else. Yep. And like, to me at first, I was like, whatever, that's a little cliche. Like you can do it but like literally it does require like that level of like passion and dedication if you do want to make it a living, because like otherwise, you know, like we're saying, there could be years of like no return whatsoever, you know?
That's why I always say pick something that you really, really like. Because like I've seen people get into the Dragon Ball community specifically and just end up hating it. And I'm like, why you hate it? It's because it's just not fun. It's stressful. Yada yada yada. I'm like, you chose this community. Don't pick that one thing because it worked once. Pick that one thing because you actually enjoyed it. And again, like with me, literally around my wall, what do you see? Dragon Ball stuff. Like I am a Dragon Ball fanboy.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite series. My favorite series is actually Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, like hands down. But when it comes down to Dragon Ball, it's been like a big part of my childhood. I could talk about Dragon Ball literally for fucking ever. So like when I chose to focus on Dragon Ball back in 2014, like I knew I could do this shit forever. Like,
and that's huge.
But don't pick that one thing that you know you're not gonna like a year from now.
I like that you mentioned like don't stick with something just because it works, because like a lot of times I get asked, sometimes like especially if it's somebody who's just now realizing like I'm back and I still exist and all that stuff, that one of the first things they want to ask me is always like, well, if you stayed doing content creation like the whole time, do you think you would be as big as like Rhymestyle or like C-Reacts and all that stuff? And I always tell them, I'm like, no, absolutely fucking not, because the thing is, I did not have that knowledge or that insight that you just dropped right there at the time, as far as like I would have just been doing it like, just because it worked, and it would have showed. The content would have severely plummeted in quality. It would have been shit, or otherwise I didn't have the knowledge that like I said, you just dropped to like do something that you enjoy in the first place. I was just like, I just made a video because I was like, oh, I feel like playing this game, and then it blew up, and then I'm like, oh well, I need to keep doing this, even though I'm not crazy about it. Like I like it, but it's whatever. But yeah, no, like so much truth in what you just said. Yep.
This is why I love, I'm speaking of truth, the truth. He's a guy that does Dokkan. He absolutely loves Dokkan. And like he loves it. I'm talking about, it's not just for the camera. And I love that about him because he's so passionate about it. And the reason why his channel works is because like that passion is there. If you're making content and you're continuously like liking a game less and less and less, it's going to show. It is going to affect you. Like with me, like I said, I take breaks from like specific games every now and then. And one of the reasons why I focus on always playing different kind of Dragon Ball games was so I don't get burned out. Because if I was only playing one game, it's like I would not have a good time. Like I just came back to Xenoverse 2 days ago. I decided to play it for fun. It was me and C-Reacts, and I just realized, man, why am I playing this shit? Like I'm just not enjoying this. And I went back to Fighters, and I love it again. Like, but yeah, I saw questions like, is that a Hiei cell? Yes, that's from episode 109, I want to say, when he fought what's a face, Makuro. When he did no, he didn't fight Makuro yet. Yeah, that was a Makuro fight. Sorry, yeah, it was.
Okay, so that's like a cell from the animation. Oh, that's pretty cool.
I remember when me like seeking out random collectibles. I looked up Hiei one time on eBay. And I'm like, yo, this is like the best. That's the best possible cell that you can find for that character, because he's doing his dragon. I'm like, I'm buying that shit. It was actually pretty cheap. It was $600, and at the time I was like, do I want to really spend that much for a cell? Absolutely, because that's a piece of history. And again, one of my favorite anime characters of all time too.
That's pretty fucking cool. So I noticed your most viewed video is actually an Attack on Titan video. It's got 4 million views. I was like, are you shitting me? Like, it is by far your most viewed video. Bruh,
let me tell you about that game. Right. I almost went into a negative account buying that game. So what was it, 2013, 2014?
Something like that,
yeah. That's around time where, again, my job out here that brought me out to California was just piss poor dog shit. Like, again, the whole idea was, we're working on the startup. When it bangs, you'll get paid more. You'll get raises every now and then. But for what they brought me out of here for was a joke. It was $30,000. I'll tell you right now. It was a $30,000 salary in San Diego, which is comical.
Yeah.
And at the time, my rent was $900. I found a nice place on the beach that had paid utilities and everything. So I think every single paycheck I would get like $1,100. So it would be like, what, $2,200 total. So it works, And this is before my student loans started hitting. But I was basically just like living off of ramen. And I remember Attack on Titan was coming out. And at the time I was trying to figure out, okay, this Dragon Ball thing, will this be a thing that's going to work, or should I try to expand to other anime? And Attack on Titan had, like, just started like popping. So I was like really into it. So I'm like, you know what? Let me import this game. And I remember to import it cost like $90, which I did not have. And I'm like, you know what? I just see what happens. I'm going to get this game. I can make, videos off of it. If the algorithm blesses me, great. If not, well, it's a learning lesson. And I remember I bought the game. I had like $5 in my account for a whole like week and a half. And the next thing I know, I upload that video and First of all, the first time I uploaded a video, like nobody watched it. I think it had like 5,000 views after like a week. But then all of a sudden, for no reason at all, the algorithm decided, yep, we're gonna take this video and put this in front of everybody. And I'll tell you again, right now, over the lifespan of that video being out, that video made like $6,000. So it was like the $90 that I struggled to pay for ended up paying for itself because I got lucky. And again, that's the luck factor that comes into YouTube.
That's beautiful though. Like literally, you almost overdrafted buying that game, and that video has made you $6,000. So
yeah. And the joke is like I am a Dragon Ball channel, but my most viewed video is an Attack on Titan video. It's hilarious.
Right, because that's exactly what I was expecting. I was like, oh yeah, what fucking Dokkan video is his most viewed video or something like that? And then I'm like, wait. 4 million freaking views on this. Yeah.
And the reason why I got lucky with that one is at the time, Koei Tecmo, or actually the only company that was releasing games like on time, like around the world, was Bandai. Any other company, when they would release an anime game, they would always release like 6-8 months later in the US. So what happened is that game came out literally 8 months before it hit the US. So the reason why that's so viewed is because everybody was just looking it up, you know. And if you look up an Attack on Titan video one time, it's gonna always recommend it. So that's what happened with that. So I literally only got lucky with that video because it didn't release simultaneously. But now, of course, every game does. But yeah.
Okay. So about that shitty startup company, you don't have to mention the name of the company or anything like that if you don't want to. But I'm curious though. Like a considerable amount of time has passed now since you've been working there. And have they hit it big? Have they would this be a decent job if you were still there?
Exist anymore. I'll tell you what the company was. It was Lady Gaga actually created she went to Facebook, she went to Twitter, she wanted to basically figure out where she wanted to go, and she realized that she didn't want to go to either one of them. So she created her own startup, which is basically like her own social platform, and that's what the job was. I basically worked for Gaga. And so we created a platform for her, which is like a place where all her fans can like sign up and reside, talk to each other. And then from there, we started expanding into other brands like Nike and stuff like that. So that was the story. Now, initially, it was pretty fucking cool. Another way, a good way to describe it is it was Reddit the way Reddit is today. So it was a company that was ahead of its time, but it wasn't like meant to exist in 2013, 2014 yet. Because like at the time, like all you really cared about was like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. But like the niche stuff, like while the niche stuff did attract like the rabid fans or whatever they were into, it wasn't big numbers. So the problem was, when you have investors up your ass, they just want to see that growth. But what they don't understand is like, for example, Lady Gaga at the time had like 80 million followers on Facebook, but she only had like 1 million people on her site, which is good because that's 1 million people.
Yeah.
And those are 1 million people who are active. But like the average investor didn't understand that. It's like, oh, well, why did only so and so many people cross over? So that's when we started expanding it to more and more and more. But the problem with the company was they started hiring the wrong people. And essentially, they didn't really listen to the people they should have. So, in other words, like what they hired me to do, they would just not basically tell me I was doing what I'm supposed to do, if that makes sense. In other words, it was like, oh, you're just a dumb kid who just graduated from college. I've been doing this shit for years. You know what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, I use the same knowledge on my channel, and I'm sure I knew what I was talking about. Like, the thing is they just weren't listening to what was needed to be done. And they basically pointed fingers a lot, and it was a very, very toxic workplace. Like the first couple of years was great. First 2 years were fantastic. Again, it wasn't like the typical 9 to 5, but again, as time passed and as hard it was for them to understand how numbers transition across the board, it just didn't really work out. Ironically, around the time when I decided to quit, I remember I quit. I moved back around September because initially I was in San Diego and we moved to San Francisco to consolidate both offices because we had like our tech office up there and then like the marketing and stuff was down here. I remember I moved up to San Francisco for 6 months, and then after 6 months, my channel started to do really, really well to the point where I could sustain myself. I was like, you know what, I'm done with this shit. I'm going home. Came back over here, and between September and February, the company folded.
Oh shit.
Just completely dissolved.
Could not have timed out much better then.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I could have left like a year into it. The only reason why I chose not to is because, again, you never know. And this is a big mistake a lot of people make on YouTube is like the second you get that one big check, it's like, oh, that's shit. Like, I'm done. Like, I ain't gotta go to my job anymore. You should never do that. Because, again, you might just be having that good year because Xenoverse just came out and Xenoverse is obviously doing really, really well. Well, how does YouTube work when Xenoverse isn't popping? How does YouTube work when the next DragonBall game comes out? How, like, you gotta kind of like plan for that, and that's what I was, I guess, waiting for. And once I realized that I could sustain myself off of YouTube alone, that's when I was basically done.
And especially people wanting to go full time off of like Twitch money alone, because like there's a lot of people who they just do Twitch, and like I get it, Twitch is nice, like as far as like, you know, you get a nice check from there, and you like you said, you want to be like, oh damn, like time to fucking quit my job and just play video games all day. But like the thing about Twitch especially is, or any live streaming service really, is it's all gratuity. So like we face a recession or something like that, which right now is very likely. These dudes ain't got this disposable income to be giving you $5 subs anymore, you know.
Like people always say, you know, I remember whenever people complain about YouTube, it's like, oh, just quit YouTube, do Twitch. It doesn't translate like that at all.
No.
And I'm not gonna get into specifics, but like YouTube, like from what I've seen with me and my friends, the revenue you make on there is comically larger than Twitch. The thing about Twitch is Twitch has ads, but it's like basically just pennies. Like the thing that you rely the most on Twitch are donations and subs. But again, if you have that bad month, like what do? Right. And the funny thing is right now on YouTube, well, we had it several times in the past couple of years, is when ads die, like you got to be prepared for that. Like right now, this month, I think I'm making like 80% less than I did last month. It was a big difference. And like I can survive something like that. But if you're just like that new channel that started popping in the past couple of weeks, and now you're experiencing this, it's gonna be tough. That's why I always recommend, like, you know, don't do YouTube for the money. Do YouTube because you're passionate about it, and, you know, maintain that job that you have along with it. And if you get to the point where you're confident that you can just fully go into YouTube, then try it. You know, worst case scenario, you can always go find another job, and that was basically my view of it. But like right now, there's like no ads at all.
So why is
funny
that?
Going into this, well, the reason, okay, so the way it breaks down, because I don't know if you were around when YouTube really established their ads, but basically January you make like nothing in January because no one's buying ads because there's nothing going on. You know, fourth quarter you got the holidays and everybody's pouring the money into that. February you got the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl ads, they pay a good chunk for revenue. And then between that's when like the rest of the year kind of stabilizes, and then they have movies, whatever products come out, games come out, whatever is promoted that gets put on YouTube. Right now, because the entire world is shut down, there's nothing really to advertise. So ads just died. So like, you know, I picked up a couple of sponsorship. I'm trying to avoid sponsorship that require people to pay stuff. Yeah. So for example, like, hey, buy this product. I don't like doing that because I hate, you know, promoting something to people that might not be able to pay for it, especially right now. So like I had sponsorship that I literally I turned down the past couple weeks because it's like, if I'm going to promote something, it's going to be something essential. Like I want to promote like stuff that, you know, I know is going to help provide for that person with how tight money is right now. But like if it's something that's free, like for example, Raid Shadow Legends is a free game. Like, yeah, I know, I'll do a sponsorship for that. But I feel like ads are going to, or sponsors like post integrations are going to be kind of like the way to balance out the lack of ad revenue. But right now it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
That is before my time on when I was doing like my old channel, and because it was just like a flat rate CPM. Like basically like I could look at my video
$2 for like it was $2 for like 1,000 views. Yeah.
Exactly. I could look at the video and be like, all right, I got this many, you know, 1,000 views, so this is how much money I'm making. Like that's it. You know, that no more math or anything required. But now, yeah, I know that it's a little bit different.
Yeah, with how ads work now, not counting like the pandemic and stuff, around fourth quarter it just quadruples. Nice. Like in December you'll make like 10 times what you make your normal amount, which is like basically insane. Like that's how you balance out the rest of the year. So like you'll make like 10x in December and you'll make like next to nothing in January.
And that makes sense though. You know, I guess now that YouTube has become like a more like prominent platform where like advertisers are like, you know what, I'm gonna like specifically put this ad on YouTube. Like it makes sense. Like it's not gonna be the same value to them year round. So like it kind of sucks that translates to the creators, but like, I mean, I guess that's showbiz.
That's why you gotta be real careful with it. That's what I always say. Again, you hang on to that job as long as you can, because you never know. Like, I mean, I had friends who literally would quit doing YouTube or quit their main job when YouTube started working for them, and then next thing you know, they're struggling to pay bills. I'm like, why did you quit?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, why did you quit? Like, go back, keep that job, focus on content creation, and when it's safe, then do it.
Yeah. Because
like before I quit, I handled all my bills. Like initially I used YouTube to pay off my student loans.
Nice.
And then everything after that was like, all right, now I can, nerd out. That's basically around time when I started buying like Pokemon cards and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think the best thing you can do like is have your job as like pay your bills and do all that shit, keep your lights on and everything. And then like you start making a couple bucks off YouTube, Twitch or whatever. Like that's just gravy money. You go out and blow that on some shit that maybe you couldn't just otherwise dispose. And then obviously it starts getting like, it's consistently exceeding your like quote unquote day job money. Then, let's talk. But yeah, it's like, just enjoy having that gravy money. Cause that's always cool, or hell, upgrade your equipment if you don't like, spending money on shit.
Yeah. I definitely treated this like, I still treat that to this day, like as if one of those things that could just end tomorrow. Like, I mean, it can. You never know. YouTube, Google can tomorrow just be like, you know what? We're done with this. Because Google, I think YouTube doesn't make any money. Like, it doesn't profit, if I recall correctly.
That's interesting.
Google could just shut it down. They won't, because like they're like the leading source for like a video platform.
Yeah.
But like it could. Like there's always a small chance. And then the reason why I mentioned it happened several times is we had several adpocalypses. There were a lot of scandals on YouTube. Like for example, when one YouTuber fucks up, what happens is all the media makes such a big deal about it that all the companies that put ads into it, they pull out.
Yeah. I
forget what it was. What was it? I don't want to say it was a Logan Paul thing. It was a couple years ago. There's so many that I can't keep up with all of them. There was something that happened, and I remember ad revenue just fell 60% just in like a week. And it lasted like that for a couple weeks just because one YouTuber fucked up.
So I was listening to this one podcast. I want to say it was Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, because I know he had the CEO of Instagram on recently, but I don't remember for sure if it was that one or if it was something else. But I remember hearing that like marketers and advertisers are apparently like notoriously like slow to get on the right platforms. Like, so for example, like right now you're seeing a shit ton of ads on Facebook and stuff, but like Facebook was obviously in its prime, like literally like 10 years ago. And
yep.
Like now they're starting to migrate towards Instagram. You start seeing like ads on Instagram and shit now. And it's just like, it is kind of strange, but YouTube has like by far been like the longest lasting of those.
And it gets better every year, with the exception of obviously what's happening right now. It's like every single year, people will always complain that, YouTube is fucking up. They're going to die tomorrow, like yada, yada, yada. But like literally, despite the bad changes that have happened with this platform over the course of the last couple years, every year the ads became better and better.
Yeah. And
that's something that like I figured out. I'm like, whatever's happening right now, it's gonna blow over. It'll balance out. Like even right now, like once the world settles, it'll be back to normal again. Probably better than ever before. But like as far as how the platform adjusts to what's happening, in the long run, it always ends up working out in the best. At least from my experience, it ends up working a lot better.
Yeah, because I remember, which granted, I'm not like doing content creation full time, like it's literally a side thing. So this was not a big concern for me in the first place. But I remember when Kappa became a thing, like at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, that was the one that everyone was like worried about. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was so like worried about Kappa, and I remember like back then, or not back then. I mean, this was like a few months ago. But yeah, everybody was like, "Oh, we're gonna die," and I'm just like, man, I remember. Again, back in my day, there was like all kinds of little things like that, little laws that were coming into place, and everybody just thought it was going to be the YouTube killer or whatever. It's like
the funny thing about that is it was a lot of misinformation going around, and that's what was like causing it to blow up so much. Because the thing about Kappa is Kappa wasn't trying to destroy YouTube; they were trying to protect kids under like 13, and they literally just didn't know what counted as a child video. And like a lot of my friends who do like Pokemon card openings were like worried, like, well, this is technically a kid's game, and according to those guidelines, I can't do this anymore. But again, the thing is they weren't trying to maliciously destroy YouTube. They're trying to create guidelines that fit. So obviously over the course of the couple of weeks that was going on, they realized, oh, okay, yeah, so this is okay, this is not okay. And then they ended up basically figuring out what is copy friendly, what isn't. And at the end of the day, like everything was fine. Like everything, nothing really changed. Nothing really changed.
Yeah, like you just click whether your video was, made for a kid or not. And like it's going to, I know that can affect like whether there's personalized ads and how much those are worth and everything. But yeah, it's just like, I guess having the hindsight of having seen enough of those things come through where like, I remember there was some law, but I remember this was back on my old channel. Domination Darren is what I called it. I was like, I was literally like 12 years old, like on a shitty USB webcam. But I remember, there was some rule. I remember making this video about it and talking about it. And it's just like, I don't know, those just come and go all the time. But yeah, like they figured out, And I think even YouTube is probably worried, but they work it out.
Yeah, that's why I try not to panic whenever stuff happens. I'm like, it's gonna work out. But I guess like if you're a lot smaller of a creator and you're not really fit to like completely focus on YouTube, because again the problem is a lot of times people will quit their job way too early to focus on YouTube. Then that's when it becomes scary.
Yeah.
And like right now, again, I'm sure somebody in the past couple weeks decided, you know what, I'm gonna quit my job and do YouTube full time. And now it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have.
Well, because then it is no longer like a cool side thing. Now it is. Like, there's no way to avoid it. Now it is stressful and it's about the money and, because it's got to be,
Yep.
So.
And then you also got to learn, you have to teach yourself everything. You have to teach yourself taxes.
Oh, yeah.
All these, like, I had to teach myself all that shit. None of that stuff was taught in school. None of it.
Yeah. But mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Like.
Glad I know that.
So
the irony is let me reveal something.
Okay.
I actually never got my diploma for college.
Really?
So what happened was I went to college, and you know how it is. Like when you go to school, you try and figure out what you want to do. For the first 2 years, I basically went into the business school at IU in Indiana, and after about a year, I realized it was bullshit because what made their school so prestigious was they weeded you out in 4 classes. They weeded you out in calculus, accounting, and then 2 other classes that weren't that important. But the important part was calculus, you need to have at least a B. And all the calculus classes at IU were based off of like 3 tests. So if you fuck up once, you're not getting in. Accounting was literally based off of 2 tests. And you have 2 options. You can either take the most ridiculous class. They don't even teach you accounting because they want you to learn it on your own, which is kind of ironic because you go to school to learn.
Right.
You could either take a chance and fail, or you could take like the one where they actually teach you accounting over the summer, which is what I did. But 2 years in, I realized, man, this is bullshit. So then I focused on basically digital marketing and like the digital space because that was the future. And I managed to actually graduate within 2.5 years at that point. However, I needed 1 more class. So when I, at the time, I found this job that, was hiring me at the time out here in San Diego. And I'm like, yeah, I'll come intern. Ended up interning, and I actually used that as a credit to basically have it be my final project at IU. But I needed to get at least a B in business law, which again, this is what's stupid about college sometimes is they make you literally take shit that has nothing to do with your school, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll just finish the last semester. I'll power through it, and it'll be fine. Wrong. The business law class I took was based off of 2 tests, and it was Blue Book. Blue Book, in case you don't know what that is, to the people in chat, Blue Book is basically they hand you a little book and you have to handwrite all the answers in. Now, the reason why that's trash is because you can answer a question but not get full credit for it.
What?
So the 2 tests that I studied my balls off for, I answered every question correctly, but I didn't answer every part of the question. And again, it was business law, so like I don't fucking want to be a lawyer, nor do I care about that shit. So I'm not gonna be like the best at that. But because I'm not failing that class, I technically have to go back and finish that last class to get my degree. But at the time, I'm like, yo, I'm working like 20-hour days. I don't have time for this. No, this is important. Just quit your job, stop doing that. Come get your degree. I'm like, no, I literally can't. Like, so the irony is like, despite everything I've been through, I actually never got my degree because college is bullshit.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Unless you want to be a doctor or lawyer, I want to put that out. If you want to be a doctor or lawyer, it's important. But if you are trying to be, I don't know, whatever else, and they make you take those bullshit classes, it's like, all right, well, cool.
Because there's certain things that you literally cannot do without a degree, like doctor, lawyer, teacher.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like you have to, and there's no way around it. But like just about anything else, I agree. Don't fuck with it, because like they're gonna want work experience.
I literally studied code.
Yeah.
How to like program and like digital market, and it's like, oh yeah, but you got to get this business law class in. I'm like, bro,
why?
If I want a lawyer, I'll just hire a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking like I went to school for communications. I was like, I don't know why, but I was like, oh, I could like work in radio or like news or, I was like, let me find something that's dying right now. That sounds like a good thing to, to put my career in. But yeah, like I like volunteered at like my campus radio station. I'm just like, nah, this shit sucks. I hate this.
Yep.
I just got my associates, but I was like, nah, I'm done. And then I was a fucking cable installer for like 5 years,
Dude, I finished my way through college. Like, it's the funny part is I still walked. I still had the cap and gown. I still have my cap and gown. I even had a little pamphlet that they give you where you put your degree in, because the way it works is they give you that actual little book thing, and then you get your degree later. But I just got the degree part.
I mean,
and the funny thing is because I worked in tech at the end, nobody cares about whether or not you actually graduate, because all they really want is that skill, like the digital marketing skill or the knowledge of just computer engineering, all that stuff. Like, and it's like, yeah, did you graduate? Yup. Did you get your degree? No one asked you, did you actually get your degree? So, did you graduate? Yup. 4.5 years. I walked, got everything, got the photos. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, that's all that matters. You can like hang the hat up in your background or something like that at some point, and like, people are going to know. That's it.
Yep.
So what are maybe some of your favorite moments, if you have one or if you have multiple, like, hey, whatever, as far as like your time here on YouTube ever since you've started?
Oh my gosh, favorite moments?
Yeah.
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, it's every day. Like, again, like my day always starts with, I'll wake up early, and I just get to literally just play the games that I love and enjoy. Like, and I think my most favorite part is just interacting with so many people that enjoy that one thing as much as I do. Because again, when I grew up in high school, nobody, not nobody, like there was like a handful of people enjoy that shit as much as I did. And when I post a video and I see people get as excited over that one thing in Dokkan or in Legends, or they see that one combo in Fire, it's like, just get as excited. I think it's just the coolest shit ever. Because like at that point, you're in a room full of people that like the same shit, and that's like the best feeling. You also get to like interact with people, see how they grow. One of the things that blows my mind the most is I've seen so many people that subscribe to me actually grow over the years. Like, I've seen people who were literally watching me when they were kids, and now they actually have kids. like I've seen them grow up, and that part like blows my mind. Like, there's still a lot of people that I've kept up with since like year one.
Mm-hmm.
And like even if I pop in the stream, I'll still see somebody in the stream that's been subscribed since like 2014. I'm like, God damn, you're still here. Like,
yeah.
And it's, how you doing? It's like, yeah, I got a job. I'm doing this and that. It's just seeing people grow. It's just like the cool shit to me.
Yeah.
Every now and then, I'll throw up a post on my community tab on YouTube just to see how everyone's doing. And it's like being able to just interact, and like, because a lot of people don't realize is at the end of the day, we are all humans. We're not just like, machines that are making videos just to make videos. And it's just kind of cool to see, like, so you see me doing the videos, but like, I also want to see how you guys are doing. I think that's like the coolest shit ever.
That is cool. And I know exactly what you mean. Like when I first came back, there were a couple of names in like my chats and everything or my comments that I remembered from like literally years ago. And I'm just like, fool, I can hardly sit down and watch a movie without getting distracted. And y'all like, still, it is crazy though. Like, especially as long as you've been in the space, like I'm sure there's all kinds of people. And that actually reminds me, I was wanting to ask you this earlier. So, I know that you mentioned like, knowing Afro and stuff back when he had like 200 subs. How did you meet, some of the squad and everything? Like, who were some of the first people that kind of introduced you into all that?
So it's funny you asked. So I remember at the time we were all just kind of growing individually, but everybody was just kind of hanging to themselves. It was Thundershot, Quaman, and Black and Fist. It was Toasty and Kagi and Omega. And then it was me. Who else was there? Everyone was just kind of in their own groups. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was like, why are we all just growing? Why don't we just grow together? And I remember I was like one of the first people to like start like kind of put us in the same circle. Because I remember Afro, for example, my first conversation with Afro, I remember I was in a call with me, Toasty, I think someone else. And I think it was Toasty that found Afro. I'm not really sure, but like they linked me his video, and I'm like, this guy's fucking dope. Yo, get his information and get him a Skype call. And I remember the very first thing I said to him was, "Hey, yo, Afro. Just so you know, this is a we've all decided, and you can't say no. You're part of our friend circle now." And he was like, "Huh? Well, you're part of our friend circle. Like we all voted on it. You can't leave. You're way too fucking funny. Like we're forcing you to be our friend." And that's basically like what we did. Is, we did that with everybody. Like within, I want to say 2 months. Like we were all doing content for about a year at that point, but within like 2 months, we're all just together. Kagi was the last person. I remember Kagi was hard-headed. I used to always like try to message Kagi, tweet him. He was never respond.
Really?
He's too cool. He's too good for us. But then eventually Kagi ended up coming through, and then like basically we, in that moment coming together, we just became best friends. And it wasn't like a thing where we just wanted to like be all YouTubers together. We were just a group of friends in the same community that just like we vibe. And that's basically what happened.
That is really cool. Because I had no idea, because like you said, like when like it used to just be like Kagi and Omega and Toasty and all, like that, like if I were to stick around hypothetically, that would have definitely been like where I would have been and all that stuff.
Yep.
And then I always kind of wondered, like, because then when I came back, like I reached out to Kagi. I was like, hey man, like I want to come back to doing content, blah blah blah. And like he was like, okay, well let me get you in touch with everybody. Cool. And then like I joined the thing, and like I see your name in the Discord, and like I see Afro, and they're names that like I was familiar with, but truthfully until now I had no idea like how it all kind of circled up and everything like that. I had no idea how that actually happened. I was just like,
Speaking of Omega,
we just got a raid with 254 people. Holy Jesus. But yeah.
It was funny though, because again, like end of the day, like I said, we all just vibe, and that's what resided. Like we over the course of years, a lot of people they would try to create their own like little circles too within the community, but they're all just trying to do it for YouTube. But we're just friends, and like the joke with us is a lot of times people just want to hop onto our Discord just so it can be in there. It's like, dog, you don't want to be on our Discord.
Oh God, no.
You don't want to be in our Discord because. Yeah, it's not safe for work or life.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's again, we're just a group of just friends. Like those are like that's my family right there.
I think that's the best thing too that I can recommend is like get you a group of homies to make videos with, or like to do all that stuff, because like, or at least like to shoot the shit with, whether you're actually making stuff with them, because like you need that. You need to talk to some people who like understand what's going on and what you're going through. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Man.
Yep.
And I think the last time that Omega rated me, it was right after I was talking about him. I forget what it was, but I was like talking about Smash Bros. And I was like, oh yeah, I gotta have Omega teach me how to play Smash Bros. And then like literally right after that, it's like Omega Pro just.
Dude, it's funny seeing like the growth of the community, because Nano is one of the biggest Dokkan guys. Nano was exposed to Dokkan because of Omega.
Really?
Like the first Dokkan video he watched was Omega Pro play it.
Holy shit. Because
and then he just said, you know what, I'm gonna do YouTube too. When I found Nano, blew me away, because like when I first found Nano, I remember he had 2,000 subs, and I'm like, bro, he has a whole ass setup. Like, so here's a fun fact. Well, it's very believable, but up until 140,000 subs, I didn't even have a microphone. I recorded off a broken aux cord, because like again, I didn't have like the revenue and resources to get shit. So I recorded off of a shitty MacBook. It wasn't even a MacBook Pro, it was just a MacBook. And I had a aux cord that record my audio, and I used the face cam from my, or like the webcam from like my face cam. And then I find Nano at 2,000 subs, and he's got a professional camera, he's got a professional background, he's got lighting. I'm like, man, this dude is dope. I reached, and on top of that, I saw you had figure arts. I'm like, yo, you got the same toys I do. Bet we're about to be bros. Like that's how we found Nano.
So, what do you mean you used an aux cord to record? Like, I'm just trying to picture that. Like.
So,
because like I've seen a lot of equipment, but that is blowing my mind right now.
Okay, so you see how this has a little cord right there? Right. Okay, picture the headphones are broken, and it's just a microphone.
What the fuck?
That's what I had.
I'm imagining you with like a fucking clothespin, like lapel micing it to yourself or something.
No,
like
that's literally what it was. Once I got my MacBook, I also used the internal mic sometimes, but the mic was actually really, really bad, because the original MacBook internal mics were just trash. So the next best thing was to use like an iPhone headphones or something, like an adapter. And I remember, I think it was from they were Beats by Dre's, but the headphones were broken. So all I had was that mic that was connected. You know how they have those headphones where you can hit the button so you can like if you connect it to your phone, you can talk on the phone. It was one of those things. But I would just plug that into my computer and just speak into it, and that's how I recorded my videos.
Holy shit! Look, we all got to start somewhere.
Yep.
Like
I said, man, my job was not paying.
You're like, I could not dump, all this money. Like, I feel like equipment has gotten a lot more affordable now. Like back when we, like we're first looking at that shit, like, I don't know, like Blue Yetis and shit make pretty good quality mics for like $50 now.
Yep.
Back then it was like people having to use their damn Turtle Beaches and shit. Like if you had a good Turtle Beach, you were the shit. Back in my day. Or damn. So normally I like to, towards the end, ask for some sort of advice. And like, I try to get a different question out of everybody. And I wanted, for some reason, I felt compelled to ask you, just like in general, what's some advice you would give to somebody wanting to get a career in gaming? And I think the more I've gotten to like know about you, like in shit throughout the night, maybe even just tech in general, like whether it be content creation or just whatever.
Don't seek the money, seek the love of it. It sounds like a fucking fortune cookie, but like it's just the truth. Because again, the problem is if you go into this like wanting money or wanting like I said earlier, the fame and stuff like that, it's just not gonna work. I mean, it might, you might be that 1% chance where it does work out for those reasons, but like if you focus too much on the numbers, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna burn out. You're gonna spin out. You're gonna get hit by a blue shell, and then you're gonna be out of the race. But like, if you go into this with the pure passion and the love of whatever it is that you're creating, that's when like worst case scenario, you're having fun. Like it can't get any worse. You're having fun, and from there, all you can get is like the positives out of it. And again, the problem with content creation is because people see the numbers so much. Is everybody just wants that? That's their big goal, and that when that doesn't happen, they burn out.
Hey guys, how's it hanging, everybody? This is StormPow, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode of StormPod as much as we had fun recording it. As always, please be sure to follow or subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform it is that you may be enjoying it on, and go ahead and check out my Twitch channel as well to be a part of these episodes live in the future. But also be sure to check out Rhymestyle. Links for all of his content will be down below. Again, he's got multiple YouTube channels, and he streams on Twitch and does a whole lot of other things. So really, really great guy, and there are a lot of ways to keep up with him if you want to go check out his content. Again, all that's down below. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We also have a merch store, which launched pretty recently, and I actually got some of the merchandise pretty recently, so I can now vouch for sure that this is really great stuff. I got myself a t-shirt and a coffee mug, and of course there's hoodies and things like that, so be sure to check that out, guys. That's streamlabs.com/thestormpow/merch. And lastly, do want to give some credit to Kevin MacLeod. He is the one who made the theme song for this podcast, so be sure to check out his royalty-free music at incompetech.com. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.